The name of the show is The Way to Go. My name is Alan Bendich. I'm going to be your host. Tonight's guest is the wonderful Max Bendich, my dad.
I didn't hear you. What did you say?
I said wonderful, Mr. Wonderful, the original Mr.
All right.
Wonderful.
I'm just what I like. Certain things I like to hear a few times.
So you've been a lucky guy in many ways. You always talk about how lucky you are, right? I mean, you are.
I know.
Right? And sometimes, you know, your luck can also be seen in the faces of your grandchildren, right? So I remember when my nephew Michael, your first grandson, was born, because I was in. We talked about this place before, a place called Lakeland or Kindleland. I was a lifeguard that summer.
Right.
It was 1971, and Michael was born to Miriam and Sam, and you became a grandfather. And I'm not going to ask you if you remember, because I have a feeling you don't remember exactly those days, but it had to be like a wonderful time. I mean, just, do you remember?
The exact moment, no,
Right.
but I remember the scenario. And it was lucky that my folks found a place called Kindleland.
Right.
And
it's also lucky that your parents were alive when Michael was born. So they were actually great-grandparents.
Alan, when you talk about that, I feel good, you know.
Right.
Why? Again,
Because we have the pictures.
again, the pictures and everything else,
Yeah.
that we were lucky that way. And for quite a long time, and it was really, we all were alive.
Right.
We all were alive, and eventually, Elaine was the first one.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that today. I don't want to go talking down that road. We're talking about
Positive.
grandchildren, right?
Right.
So Michael was born, and he was the first.
He was.
And Mimi was living at the time in the Bronx.
In the Bronx.
On Decatur Avenue, and she was teaching. And I guess they needed a bigger place. So around that time is when I remember we moved to Co-op City around that time, only because they needed a bigger place for Michael. And a few years later, Gaby was born. And Gaby was the second of your grandchildren. And I guess you were already, I mean, I wonder what it's like because I was the third one. I wonder what it was like for Michael to have a brother. Because I know that they used to beat the crap out of each other all the time. They love each other, but they used to always fight.
You remind me, I would holler at my twin brothers, Mom, they're hitting me, please, in Yiddish.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Mom begging them not to, and they would gang up on me.
I know, you told me they used to tie you up on a tree and beat the crap out of you. But anyway, but they used to fight all the time, but they, you know, they're brothers.
I know, all right.
Right. It was a good time. And then, you know, for years, you had grandchildren, you know, for 20 years, they were the only grandchildren you had.
I know.
Yeah. And then I guess 22 years ago, Aaron was born. And
wait.
Yes.
One other thing. This was after the war.
What do you mean? Of course, there's no war.
I mean, there was.
What war are you talking about? Anyway, 22 years later, Aaron was born. Michael was born in 1971, and Gaby was born in 1974. And what war are you talking about?
No, all right. No.
Unless you're talking about the Vietnam War.
No, you asked me about. I'm talking about World War II.
Yeah, but that's
that's old history.
Right. Mimi was born.
All right.
Mimi was born after World War II.
Yes. Miriam was born definitely right after.
10 months after World War II, right?
World War II.
Right. That's the mother of Michael and Gaby.
Yeah.
And then in 1994, Aaron was born, and I guess at that point you had already been. You know, you were almost 80 years old. You were 79 years old. You were 79 years old.
But still, Mom wanted one thing.
What?
A granddaughter.
And that happened 3 years later.
That's
with Kara.
right.
And thank God, you know, with all the sickness that Mom had and all this, she was able to finally have her granddaughter. You know, I mean, that was it was important to her.
Now I have to say this.
Yes.
I don't remember. Why don't I? Oh, when you see me, you show me pictures. I don't remember Mom being sick.
Well, Mom was.
I think since you
well,
told
I'll put it
me.
this way: only because And she had very bad arthritis. That was the first thing. So she had her hands were messed up. Her legs were messed up. She was on a walker. She had heart disease.
Oh,
she had.
Say about the walker again.
Yes.
I never knew it until I remembered. Not only the walker,
Yeah.
David, I think, got me a chair.
Right.
And I had to push her to the where we eat. What did we call
The
it?
dining room, whatever.
To the what?
The dining room.
Not in the, to
Where? What place are you talking about?
where we
The club?
the club,
Okay, the senior citizen.
the senior citizen club,
Right.
and
See, I don't remember that because she used to walk when she was going to the senior citizen club.
Yeah.
But what happened was then you guys moved to after you moved to the assisted living facility, and she was on a walker. Yeah, I don't think she had a chair back then.
all right, again, Alan. So David.
But anyway,
said,
we're talking about the kids. Forget about that.
that's right. Right.
Okay, so Kara was born. I just remember when Kara was born, Mom was so amazed because it had been 50 years since a girl had been
But
born. with
one
him.
thing was beautiful.
Yeah.
You were living in
Yonkers.
Yonkers,
Right.
and we came to see you often. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, Mom used to babysit Aaron 3 days a week because
Oh,
Wendy was working.
I'm happy. I don't remember.
Well, the reason why you don't remember it so much is because you would drop Mommy off and go back to the club. And then come back later, and but Mom was basically in the house with Aaron most of the time by himself, and
I'm glad. I mean, again.
But
she
then
was
you'd
a-
come, and
she was be active.
well, yeah, right.
And,
She would be changing his diapers and having a good time. Then you'd come, and then you used to sing songs with him, and you would walk him in the stroller to the different parks around the area that we were at, and he remembers all the songs you used to sing with him. So.
And there was a park,
Right.
and they could climb up to a certain thing, and we would then slide down.
Right.
Alan, and I'm positive we didn't know this expression, life is good. Life was good.
No, you had a good time with him, and he had a good time with you, and he always, they looked forward to it. And then eventually what happened was we moved. That's ultimately what happened. We moved from Yonkers because we had it was a one-bedroom apartment, and we had 2 kids because Kara was born. She was born in 1997.
I remember something.
Yeah.
I would come to visit you. I would walk into with the carriage,
Right.
sing Yiddish songs.
Right. And also Old Man River, and you'd sing a lot of different songs.
A lot of different songs.
Right.
And there was nobody happier than I was.
Except for Aaron. He had a good time, and he remembers all those things. He still remembers it. And you didn't have the same experience with Kara because by the time Kara was, we left Yonkers when she was under a year old. So we came here, I think, in 1998, and she was born in 1997. And a lot of things happened. And then when we moved to Larchmont, there was, Wendy had already decided not to work anymore. So she was a stay-at-home mom. So Mom didn't have to come over and watch the kids.
But we did.
Used to come over, not that much, but we used to come to you, but and drop them off at your house usually on Nickel Avenue.
That I don't remember.
And you used to be down in the garage fiddling around with stuff, and Aaron would come down and hang out with you. But I remember Kara, when she was a little girl, and she's 19 years old now, but she used to say, and we used to call Mom Bubby, because that's the
Bubby,
Jewish word for grandmother.
Bubby.
And she'd come home sometimes, and she would say, when she was like 2 years old or a year and a half, I'm mad with Bubby.
But
I'm mad with Bubby.
when I heard those voices, I was the most happiest guy. Just imagine a kid saying, I'm mad with Bubby.
And she was mad because Bubby used to make her take a nap when she didn't want to take a nap. And she'd come up, I'm mad with Bubby. And so cute.
I'm glad you remember that.
Yes.
I had forgotten. It's not that I have forgotten. Look how fast I remember it.
Right.
But
we used to come to your house, drop them off, and you'd spend Aaron and the kids. Most of the time it was Aaron, but would spend a lot of time with you in the house. They'd play with, you had some dolls in the house, that a guy named Benjamin. There was this doll that Mom called Benjamin for some reason.
We had, Alan, I haven't heard of it.
Benjamin's we still have it at home. And that was one of Kara's favorite things. And then there was another thing that Kara used to play with. It was like this stick that looked like, and she used it like a walking stick. And she was like this 2 or 3 year old girl with this little walking stick.
But Alan Benjamin.
Benjamin, right.
I haven't heard Alan, since we've been doing this, I think this is the first time I've heard, keep on.
And that was Mom. Mom called him Benjamin. And Benjamin Richards, because it's supposed to be Bendich, like Bendich, like our last name. So, and they used to love going to your house. And the other thing is you'd take them to, you'd go for a walk or drive to Burger King, which was around the corner. They'd eat there, and you'd look at the trains with Aaron.
In the library.
And the library.
We would go across the highway and go into the library, and they had something called a railroad.
Right.
And children would go in the railroad, and it would go slowly around and around, and every now and then somebody was a conductor and bringing the Alan.
But then also, like Aaron would watch you go through things from the garage, because you had a lot of stuff in the garage. And, and then also you had this red truck. You had a van in your driveway, and there was stuff in there. So he would love to go there to find treasures that were, little things that you'd have, and you'd just go through all the stuff. And he became very fond of the things you had.
No, it comes to just like this. I must have had a dream, that's all, that I would buy I had bought all these things, like eventually my children were going to have it. I mean,
right.
and at least they should have something. And one of the things was records.
Right.
Alan, I bought again. It was a time when 99s, they were called 9.
There weren't 99s. There was 78s.
78s. So it wasn't
We didn't
later?
have 99s.
No.
78s.
It was 78s. They were going out of existence.
Right.
I mean,
and they were very thick.
And
they were hard. They were not like the vinyl records that they became.
All right. But what happened? So the music is still there. The beautiful music. And I got them almost for nothing.
Right.
And I also had a garage.
Right.
And I had in that garage treasures.
Right.
And we had boxes, and I saved those.
And who has them now? We have them. We have all the records. We have all the 78s, every single one of them in our house. And why do we have them? Because Aaron wanted them.
I know it.
We have every single 78.
At this moment,
right.
I'm so happy.
Well, I wish there's no room in the house, but we have all the 70. Aaron made me get all the 78s. And we have every single one.
And the music is just as
and he's listened. We have turntables, and he still listens. But he was a DJ in college, and he's very much a connoisseur of music. He's and he has the records.
And how it was, I don't remember.
Right.
That I like doing things like that, and one of the things I like doing with Aaron and Kara, not with Michael and Gaby, or maybe with Michael.
Okay. What?
We would go to 14th Street. On 14th Street there was Washington.
You never went with Aaron and Gaby?
Never.
No, and you didn't go with Michael. You went with Mimi. This is a long time ago. You never did it with, you went with your kids, and you didn't go with me. You went Miriam and David. But that's a long time ago. That's prehistoric. With the kids, first of all, I don't think the one thing, even though you were allowed to take Michael and Gaby cross country, I don't think Wendy, my wife, would have let you take them on the train to go to Manhattan.
I told you that.
Because you were already like 80 or almost, you were in your 90s.
Right.
And, the trains in New York City weren't good for you.
When I was
kids.
given that shot, Alan, to me it was, what am I going to do? What are you going to do with the kids? Finally, I'm going to go into the subway with them. What are you talking about? You're going to take me? Never.
Yeah, that's what Wendy said. She didn't want you to take them into the subway. Because as much as you said, you would tell, I have to, I'm going to blow the whistle here. You'd say, oh, don't worry. I'll take care of them. And then you'd walk ahead, and the kids would be running behind you.
the kids.
And it was like Wendy was getting, it was a little bit scary, but they loved being with you, and they still do. I mean, you saw them today, right? You saw Michael and Aaron and Kara. Was it nice seeing them today?
Alan, I should never stop seeing them.
Right.
They're my life.
Yeah,
they are my life.
Right. And Kara's going back to Wesleyan next week.
And see that again.
And Aaron just graduated college.
And meaning, it's up to Kara now.
Right.
They have their own lives.
That's it.
Alan, which is unbelievable, wonderful. Yeah. The parents, the grandparents, we tried.
We did the best we could.
That's it, Alan. That's the whole thing. Knowing one thing, that we never said things like this.
Right.
They're our future. That's the only reason we needed them. Right. They needed us.
They still need us.
And Alan, again, we were lucky.
Right.
And I still, again, I don't grudge anything. Why? That I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
Right.
And I told you this at the truth, that, and I believe this, two kind of lucks.
Right.
Good luck and bad luck. And I had my both kinds, and I made good of both of them.
You did. You did very good, Pop.
Again,
I know.
Maybe unconsciously, maybe I took the bad luck.
Right.
I'm living it.
Right.
And I took the good luck. Good. I mean, and
life is good.
Alan, I learned from that.
Right.
Maybe I had the time for it. I mean, that's another thing.
Well, the thing is, right? I'm 61 years old.
Right.
You retired when you were 62. But before you became 62, you had bad luck. So, but that being said, you've been around for 39 years in retirement.
Retire.
And to me, I mean, I'm telling you, I work 10 hours a day. I would love to be retired. It takes me 3 hours round trip to go to work.
But
I would love to be retired.
Something else.
Yeah.
I never thought of my life that I'm retired. That word, that I'm retired. It never really occurred to me.
Well, the thing is, even though you were retired, you don't like to talk about this either. You took care of Mom all the time. You were always busy. One thing about you was, whether you were retired or not retired, when you were in the club, the Senior Citizen Center, you remained active. When you were at home, you remained active. You read the newspaper every day. Your mind was active. You used to play bridge. You'd play bridge on the computer, all this stuff. So you were always active.
That's why we went to Kate House.
I know.
But it just shows you something else. From four tables
of bridge.
16 people played bridge to nothing.
I know. But you know what, bridge, it's funny, like bridge used to, I remember when I was young.
Yeah.
And
I remember those, Alan, one guy over here.
No, but I remember being in the house, and you used to go to play bridge once a week. So even when you were the laundryman and all this, you still were able to, you did maybe sometimes twice a week. You used to teach bridge. But it used to be a big thing. Bridge used to be a big thing.
Yes.
Now with I guess maybe because with social media and people not really spending time with other people, no one plays cards. I mean, who plays cards?
Oh, yes. Alan, Kaluki,
No, but I'm talking about, no one my age plays. I don't know very many people who play cards.
Oh, no.
People don't play board games. If they play cards, they're playing it on their computer. They're playing solitaire on their computer. They're not playing
I do,
cards.
Alan.
I know, you're doing it. But I'm saying that you used to play bridge with decks of cards.
That's right.
Every week. You used to belong to a club.
I have books in it. I still have books in it.
Right, the Gorin, whatever his last name.
That's right,
Gorin is his last name.
That's right.
Yeah. And you used to teach us bridge, and we used to play bridge. Not like you. You used to teach it. And, but now it's like all those games, all the board games, all these, people don't play these things anymore. It's a different world. Do they play them at your place where you live? Mm-hmm. Do they play these games where you live? Where you live now?
No, only one game. Only this type of a. Again, I don't. And I play it also. Yeah. They have
tiles.
Tiles.
I forgot the name of the game.
And they turn it over, and.
Yeah. I can't think of it.
I go and I throw
Mahjong? Is it Mahjong?
They play Mahjong.
Right.
Alan, and they like the game.
Well, that's a game.
But it's only four people, and so far I'm glad about it.
Yeah.
No one has been sick. I mean, every now and then I look in.
So you play mahjong?
No, I don't play. I mean, they play it,
Right.
which is good. I mean,
At least they're playing something. But people don't play games. I mean, they don't play board. Not many people play that anymore. You know, they don't play cards.
They don't play cards.
I mean, people play cards to gamble, but they don't play cards for fun anymore. And
Alan, you said something. There it is, and it hurts.
Right.
And
because I remember when I grew up, when I was growing up, I used to spend time at my grandparents' house. Both says your parents and my mother's parents. We used to play. We used to play
war.
We used to play war. We used to play casino, steal the old man's bundle, gin, rummy. And that used to be a way of playing. I used to play with, generations would play with each other.
That's right.
And this doesn't. And now
we have
my son and daughter and I and Wendy, we're home with our own separate computers. We're not playing anymore.
That's it. There. And here, what am I doing? The same thing.
I know.
I play.
You play
I forgot
solitaire.
Huh?
You play solitaire.
Spider solitaire.
Right.
And I'm good at it, Alan.
I know.
Believe it or not. Before I even go to sleep, I make sure that I win a game, and I win.
But the other thing is, it keeps your mind active. These games are good to keep your mind active, but it's kind of antisocial games because you play. I mean, it's good to keep your brain exercised. But in the old days, you'd be playing games with other people, and I would be playing games with other. You know who's playing games now? Aaron and Wendy, my son and my wife, play cards together.
What kind?
And they play 500 rummy.
500.
And it's fun. They both enjoy it, and they talk and they play, and it becomes a social interaction, which we don't do anymore. It's non-existent. I think the only social interactions I do are acting and directing. If it wasn't, to me, that's playing a game too.
All right,
that is like playing a game.
Again, but it's a little more serious.
Right.
But Alan, you're right. Conditions maybe make it so that we don't have to. There's more important thing than to play this type of a game.
I don't think. You know what? I think there's really nothing more important than playing games. I mean, that kind of stuff used to be. Even it was fun. It was like
it was fun. It was to kill yourselves.
Right. But you were doing it with someone else. Now everything we do. And it's like the iPhone and all this. I mean, all these things, we're like solitary people, texting each other, rather than talking to each other. And it's.
I hate what you just said. Yeah. We are solitary people, Alan.
All right.
Why? Again, actually, we are like animals. We're not, so we shouldn't be solitary.
Right.
Because the animals usually come together and everything else. And maybe these. Because now we don't go to a club where we're in Cathay House, but maybe life might have been better for you if we did the same thing as in a senior center.
Right.
But again, we don't know.
No, but I'm even talking about I'm talking about not just people of your age, but people of my age, and kids. I mean, the other thing is, you hear about it all the time. When I was a kid, I couldn't wait to get out of the house just to play with my friends outside. And just to get out of the house. Who wants to be in the house? And now people just want to stay in the house and be on their computers. And it's just it's a different world.
Except for the city.
Right.
Where can they play? There are no sidewalks.
Right.
There are no sidewalks.
Right.
And the game is fun. How many games can be played when there's a sidewalk?
But even if you wanted to play in the backyard, or if you wanted to play, in the park, no one does it. I mean, maybe there's like organized sports that people play.
No.
But I'm talking about going outside, going on a bike, going to hang out with your friends, playing, hide and go seek, things like that. I don't see that happening. I mean, I just see everybody. I mean, even my kids wanted to they couldn't wait to get their first, smartphone, so they could play and communicate that way. I mean, it's a different world.
Alan, it's a different world. And was it a better world before?
I knew that's the obvious next question. I don't know.
Whole thing, wait,
Well, we're supposedly evolving, right?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
The whole thing in the beginning, there were wars, declared wars.
Right.
And now there are wars where, again,
Just continuous.
There are wars, Alan.
I know. The world's at war. That's it.
And I don't even want to discuss.
Let's not go in that direction.
That's right. It isn't a progressive thing,
Right.
Alan.
But to me, I don't know. I mean, it's amazing that kids can become social individuals in a world of like iPhones and computers. But thank God, Aaron and Kara are both very social. I'm just so happy about it. You know, I'm very happy that my kids.
Because our family was never like that, Alan.
I know.
Never. I mean, we were a together family, a progressive family,
Right.
and no one
Yeah.
here. Even with my brother, the big man,
Aaron.
biggest guy in the world, and everything else. I don't know. He was so successful that he wasn't too successful with his kids, I don't think.
Right.
And
well,
again,
sometimes, you know, I mean, he was so successful that he didn't spend that much time at home. But then other issues.
I mean, I'm talking about.
But it wasn't. But a lot of it wasn't work related. Everyone has their issues, except for you, of course. But he had issues. You know, I mean, it must have been very difficult. I mean, you know, one of the original guys who started up the Sloan Kettering Institute. You know, chairman of the biochemistry department at Cornell Medical School. All this stuff. I mean, he was just a big man who came from unbelievable poverty. You know, from nothing, from zero. And he became like one of the biggest scientists in the world. Yeah. And he was your kid brother. So,
all right. Yeah.
And I guess that kind of stuff, you know, it's difficult to deal with success.
Well, we dealt with it. I mean,
not him.
No.
No, but I'm saying it's difficult. Sometimes it's difficult for people to deal with success.
No, I'm positive he would have liked to have how big he was. We weren't together.
And the other thing was he got sick.
Alan, we weren't together.
And he got sick. And part of that was lifestyle.
All right.
Right? He smoked. He did it to himself.
Alan, he did it to himself.
And you know what? I think, in a way, the way you live, you're doing it for yourself. I mean, you live a life of positivity, and that's why you're 101 years old. I think all the negativity, all the things you do bad to yourself, that you punish yourself, you smoke, you drink, you hurt yourself. These are things that are self-destructive behaviors that eventually are going to kill you. You don't do any of that stuff. All you do is positive things.
So a question. Again, I asked you this, nothing, again, why did I do what I did and not follow the drinking?
Well, I can tell you this. Unfortunately, I wasn't around when you were a kid, but I don't know. I'm not sure why you. I mean, I wasn't around yet.
How come I'm ending up at this type of a person?
Because you are who you are. You're an unusual person. Most people don't look at life the way you look at life. You know, most people don't haven't experienced life the way you've experienced life, and you know, and you have to take. You're able to take the good with the bad, and right now it's the bad, Dad. It's the bad. You know why? Because there's only one thing left to say, Pop. That's a wrap. Good night, folks.